Peace, love, wholeness to the chat. Chris86, much love to you. Welcome. Welcome to Here Now Live. This is Here Now Live number 40. Much gratitude for being here in this space once again. Another Sunday. Always. We always meet in the now. For anyone new to Here Now Live, my name is Morcie. I am a spiritual teacher, a coach, a guide, and ultimately a human being. A human being with a purpose. Living, breathing, here now. This space right here is Here Now Live. Here Now Live Streams. It's a space where we expand our present moment awareness. A space where we expand our own self-awareness. Dancing with life. Dancing with the ebb and flow of life. Exploring what it means to suffer in many ways and what it means to not suffer. Learning how to transmute our pain, transmute our suffering into wisdom, to empathy, heart-centeredness. I am very grateful for this space as it has been an anchor for me for these past 40 lives. We began back in December 2022, and we're here 6 months later, I'd say. Yeah, 6 months later, we're still here. We're still going strong. So welcome to the live. If you're here, give a hello in the chat. If you are watching the recording, say hello in the comments section. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to see who's here. And yeah. You'll see my little Queenie cat. She might be meowing every so often. Whenever she meows too much, I go put her in her other playroom. The lighting on this is very interesting. I've been playing with it. Weird. I think that's better. There we go. That's better. Queen. Where do you want to go? Okay. Up to you. Alrighty. Chris86, hello. Thanks for live streaming. Indeed, much love. Much love. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling today? Another thing that I'd like to introduce you all to, which I do every live, is the sound bowl right here. You'll hear it throughout the live. This is an indicator to pause and be here. Often we get in our head, and it's a great way to improve our self-awareness. Stepping out of autopilot. Come here, Queen. Sorry, y'all. Come here, bubs. Okay, I'm getting situated here. All right. Mindful Zeta, look at you. New name. Much love to you, Mindful Zeta. Darren, hello. Good to see you again. Welcome back to Here Now Live. How are you all feeling today? So before little Queenie cat needed her little throne on my lap, this sound bowl right here is an indicator to pause for a moment Each time you hear it, pause. Be here now. Invite in space. Invite in presence. Space. Space is pure awareness. Just being. Often all we need is a little bit of space. Often all we need is a pause. Today's topic is a powerful topic. Being present with strong emotions. Something that we all encounter in this life. Experiencing strong emotions, for sure. We all experience it, but learning to be present with it is the next step. That's the evolution in our consciousness. Presence with strong emotions. Doesn't matter on the scale whether it is one that is, may say, unfavorable, right? Like sadness, frustration, anger, or even on the other side of the spectrum, right? Really high forms of happiness, excitedness, right? Ecstatic often. And it's not about good or bad, right? It's not about labeling these emotions as good or bad, but it's about seeing them as they are. So anytime you hear this right here, take a moment to be here. You'll also notice that there are gaps of space. I'll take moments of gaps of space in between, maybe questions, topics, however this goes, just as a way to ground myself in the moment as well. I notice that, these lives can go on for quite some time, and we can be talking, I could be chatting for quite a while. And it's nice to just step back and pause for a moment and be here and ground ourselves. There's much power in intellect, and simultaneously there's power in a pause. There's power in just being. If you haven't already, be sure to download the Peaceful Pauses ebook. I created an ebook. It's called Peaceful Pauses, The Calm Beyond the Overstimulated Mind. Be sure to download that. It's a free ebook. And within that ebook, I expand on how overstimulation affects our day-to-day. And I give practices that we can use in our everyday life to improve our relationship with our emotions, with our mind, with ourselves, with our environment, being more present with ourselves. And so that when overstimulation does occur, we know what to do. And we'll find that we are also less overstimulated because we are aware of what is required of ourselves, required of our attention. And it's very simple. It's simple, right? Life is simple when we let it. And a peaceful pause is simple yet deep. It could be as simple as one breath in and one breath out. And often within that space is a dimension, a world of infinite possibilities. Anything. You can just be there. That's what it is, a pause. You're just there. But often after that pause, there's clarity. So check out that ebook. Chris86 doing good. Hope you're going good too, and anyone else here too. Much love, Chris. Camille, good to see you. Welcome back to Here Now Live. Mindful Zeta, I thought it was still Trend Zeta. Nope, Mindful Zeta. Darren, Queenie's so cute. I'm tapped into the live right now. Much needed. Much love, Darren. Queenie says thank you. Yes, Queenie is the happiest, aren't you, Bubs? Aren't you, my baby kitty? She's spoiled. She's the only cat. So she gets all the attention. Right, Bubs? The ebook, Darren, check the link. I put the link in the description, so you'll find it there. Paulo Ricardo, welcome, welcome. Here now, live number 40. Much gratitude to you all. I'm so grateful to see your names in this chat. I'm grateful that you all are showing up every week. It shows me how necessary this space is. And it also plays a part in me continuing to show up every week. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your positive vibrations. Much gratitude. And by the way, the ebook is an introductory resource to a course that will be coming out in a month from now. I'm extending the deadline. The course is called Peaceful Pauses for the Overstimulated Mind, a meditation course. And this course is what will help us, aid us, guide us in implementing what we've learned from the ebook into our day-to-day. It's a beautiful course. It's 7 guided meditations. I have video guides, and there will be a 3-part podcast series. These guided meditations will cover grounding in the present moment, breath work, gratitude, heart-centeredness, focusing on the less stimulating moments, connecting to nature, and scanning your inner body. Much of what we discuss here, it's just diving deep into it so that we all understand that life can most definitely be a meditation. And it's so much simpler than we think. All it takes is a pause. All it takes is awareness. All it takes is tapping into the knowing of all experience. It's simple. This is why I share often in the live, is that the more we step away from the concept of good and bad and seeing life through good and bad, we have a shift in consciousness, and we step away from the old way of thinking, and we recognize wholeness. We recognize wholeness, presence. When I share presence, one may ask, what is presence? And I'll say, the present moment is this moment right here. It's always this moment. It'll never not be this moment. Life is always this moment. No matter how much we visualize or dream about our goals, it'll always be this moment. And our relationship with this moment determines our state of being, right? The way we think, the way we act, and the way we feel. So the present moment is this very moment, minus our thoughts about it, minus our critiques about it, minus our judgments about it. This is why choosing to practice non-reactivity is so powerful, because we begin to recognize this moment as a whole, not fragmented into not constantly fragmented into our thoughts about it, our judgments and critiques, but we shift into this space. One may call it a neutral space, but ultimately we shift into space, pure awareness. And it settles those strong emotions that we will be tapping into today. It settles that. It allows us to see it for what it is. We don't get absorbed in it. We don't get attached to it. Even in the moments where we feel the emotions, it's most intense. All it takes is a pause. All it takes is space. And that clarity is enough for us to break away from unnecessary suffering, unnecessary pain. Here, being here in the now. Peace and love to the chat. Ronan, much love to you. Welcome back. Here now live number 40. Gratitude to all of you. Thank you for being here. not just here and here now live, but thank you for being here on the green earth. I want to remind you that you matter, your existence matters, your presence matters. I see you, I honor you, I acknowledge you. Thank you for being here. I was inspired by today's topic for many reasons, personal reasons, an intuition to share this because I know this is something we all experience. I've been experiencing it these past couple of weeks, and I found that there's so many lessons that can be learned with intense emotions, even when we get attached, even when we get absorbed, right? So much is there to learn, and when we choose to acknowledge that there's a lesson to be learned, something to be received, something to expand our awareness, whenever these emotions arise, we become more confident with these emotions. We don't fear intense emotions. We don't suppress these emotions, right? I think that one misconception around inviting spiritual practices into our lives is this idea that we must suppress our emotions. This idea that we'll lose our personality, we'll lose our authenticity, and that we'll move about the world emotionless. But that's not what it is. It's not what it is at all. When it comes to being present with strong emotions, one thing to do, and this is a practice that I practice every day, and let me know in the chat if this is something you do too. The moment you notice a strong emotion arise, let's say for example it's frustration or anger, stop for a moment. Stop whatever you're doing. Pause. Emotions are energy in motion. It's energy throughout your body. The more often you stop and you pause when you notice the emotion, the more likely you are to notice the emotion, because sometimes we don't even notice that we are engaging with the world through this emotion unconsciously, right? Keyword here is unconsciously. And we end up acting in ways that are not like ourselves. We end up regretting it in the end, perhaps embarrassed, because we weren't aware enough. So the first thing, what it's important to do, Bubs, is to pause and stop and notice that energy flowing through you. Just follow the energy out of your mind into the body, noticing the energy, and let it be there. It's simple. Perhaps maybe get curious about it. What is this? It's energy. It's an emotion. See, often when an emotion comes around, there is a story tied to it. If we're always feeling the same emotion, and then there's a story tied to it, then we're always believing the same story, and it becomes a cycle. Like our emotional triggers, things like that, it becomes a cycle. And that's what puts us in a space where we feel stressed, we feel overwhelmed with ourselves. Perhaps end up projecting onto others, onto situations. It's just uncomfortable there, very uncomfortable there. So a big aspect of getting in touch with our emotions and truly feeling our emotions is pausing and getting into the body. Boo-boo, there's no space here. Come on. Pausing and getting into the body. Not only does that allow us to be in a state of calm, not only does it allow us to honor our emotions, but it gives us the opportunity to see the situation as a whole, to see the moment as a whole, to recognize the moment for what it is. You can have an emotion, you can be in the same place. Let's say you're in your room, you're in the space you are right now, and all of a sudden an emotion arises. And in a way, it changes the experience of the moment simply because of that emotion. And when the emotion goes away, then the experience is different, if that makes sense, right? It's a different experience, but you're still here in the same place, right? The present moment is everything that's happening minus our thoughts about it. So ultimately what I'm getting to is that through developing these habits with ourselves, we are more in touch with the present moment. And this requires us to do this often. This is a new way of being. It's a new state of living. This is not something you do once, you know. Often I get this, I did it and it doesn't work. I did it and I still get caught up in my mind. It's all right. Continue to do it. I find that the reward is in the actual practice. The reward isn't necessarily what comes afterwards. The reward is in the now. The reward is the dissolving of that story. The dissolving of the suffering, and all of that comes in the moment. And so the more we give awareness to this, the easier it is, right? Awareness. It's a knowing. I like to have those two, awareness and knowing. The best words that I could use to try and explain this very enlightening experience. And the more you practice it, you'll notice that the knowing, this awareness, is beyond words, right? It's not an experience, but it's an awareness. It's knowing, being. And the more we tap into that, we welcome in wholeness. We welcome in presence. Chris. True, for me, I notice I have stored up old emotions. I let now out and go, accepting them. Usually when alone, just feeling them. Powerful. That's a powerful practice. This is why it's also so important for us to find comfort in being with ourselves, to discover it and to notice that comfort in being alone so we can allow our emotions to come out. One thing that I like to share is that whatever you're feeling, it's not a problem. No matter what anyone says, it's not a problem what you're feeling. Nothing is really a problem, ultimately. But it's okay. Hey, life happens. If we feel that something is a problem in our lives, honor it. Give awareness to it. Be present with it. This reduces and dissolves any feelings of shame or guilt so that we can express ourselves authentically. So that we can find and discover that comfort with ourselves that I chat about, right? I'd like to chat and I'd like to share with you all the difference between non-reactivity and suppression. Like I mentioned before, I find that there are misconceptions around being present being here, as if you lose your personality, as if you just be this boring being. No, you'll be more authentic. You'll feel more clarity. You will honor your emotions. Sometimes we might have a habit of intellectualizing our emotions instead of truly feeling it. You know, emotions are something that can feel more, I guess elusive is the word. Elusive. Yes, elusive, right? That's why sometimes growing up, we might find that we've learned that if we get emotional, whatever way emotional might be for you, we've been told to hide our emotions. Because emotions aren't something one might see. Someone might think, if I have this emotion, it is interfering with the moment. It's interfering with what I'm doing. This is when it's important to have a balance between logic and a balance with emotions, living that balanced life and honoring that, tapping in, crying when you need to. If you want to be alone and let all that out. And however it is, there's truly no specific way to let out your emotions. Just let them out as in that moment, as the present moment calls for it. Release it. Maybe you're upset. You just want to scream in a pillow. Do it. Maybe you're sad and you need to cry it out. Maybe you're happy and you'd like to jump and shout for joy. I do find that the heavier emotions, right? One may say heavy, but let's say it's on a scale. The emotions that tend to be more centered around, I would say fear, more centered around fear, like anger or frustration or sadness. They tend to be more like, I would say, villainized in a way. And truly, I've learned that all emotions are just emotions, and when we accept them all the same, there's more of an ebb and a flow with life. And we begin and we release these ideas of good and bad, and we allow the moment to be as it is. So it's much easier to invite in the practice of non-reactivity, right? Non-reactivity is when an emotion arises and we choose to be fully aware of it and acknowledge it, right? Fully aware of it and acknowledge it. Sometimes we don't even notice that we are not acknowledging an emotion. We don't even notice that we're not fully aware of an emotion because we're so used to suppressing the emotion, right? Suppression is avoidance or denial. Denying that emotion. Saying you don't feel a certain way, even though you do. And you might truly believe that you don't feel that way because you've tricked yourself into that for the sake of survival, right? Because in the past, you may have felt that it was better to suppress the emotion. But non-reactivity, right? Non-reactivity is acknowledging it and being fully aware. Presence. As well as an active engagement. That's what I was sharing with you all. When I spoke to you all about noticing it, noticing the urge. Another feeling or emotion we might feel is boredom, which is very common nowadays because stimulating our mind is so easy to get to. And boredom tends to be avoided often because there are so many options, like hopping onto social media to, I guess one would say, quell the boredom or to stimulate our mind. When you notice boredom arise, notice it. You don't have to get absorbed into it. Just notice it for a second. Pause and notice it. Notice the emotion that comes with it. Notice the thoughts that come with it. Just notice it. And then recognize how you don't feel so compelled to stimulate your mind. You don't feel so compelled to be less bored. In fact, the boredom dissolves. You're not bored anymore. All from the simplicity of just being aware of it. Knowing, fully knowing that you are bored. And it might sound like contradictory, but don't worry about that logic. Put that into practice. Boredom, the need to be stimulated, right? This is what happens. This is why I'm putting out this meditation course. This is what it means to truly be here in the now. And it's so enlightening. Enlightenment is not anything we need to reach. We already are that. It's nothing you have to try. You don't have to eat all of this food. You don't have to go and travel across the world. Enlightenment is you. Enlightenment is now. This moment is the very best moment for you to acknowledge that, to notice that, right? So the active engagement in it is allowing them to arise and pass naturally. Noticing the inner calm, that's actively engaging with it. When you are suppressing your emotions, right? Once again, we're talking about that unconscious response. It's automatic, unconscious reaction. Ignoring it. If ever that does happen and you notice it, it is okay. The fact that you even notice that the suppression was happening is you're already stepping into a space for non-reactivity. Be gentle with yourself. We're learning how to engage with our emotions. We're learning how to be with our emotions. Our emotions are powerful. They're signals, they're signs, they're tools. The more we step into this space of knowing, full knowing, acknowledgement. And the word acknowledgement is know. Acknowledgement and awareness, when we step into the full acknowledgement, the full knowing, immediately there's a shift. That is the reward. It is the reward. There's no need to wait. Let me know in the chat if that resonates with y'all, if that makes sense, if that clears up anything. Do you find that that clarifies the difference between presence, right? Non-reactivity is also presence, being present. Presence versus suppression. Let me know in the chat. I am Shibi. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you back here now, live number 40. Chris, yes. I read in a book, everyone makes up their own story about us, about others, which is often not true, including the stories we tell ourselves too. And that it is about choosing a better story. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Indeed. One practice that I made up, I call it doing nothing consciously. This is a great way for us to build a better relationship with boredom, build a better relationship with overstimulation. When you choose to do nothing consciously, be conscious about nothingness. Be conscious about space, pure awareness. One might say that doing nothing consciously is a meditation. In that doing, you shift into a state of being. I like to differentiate that, doing and being. Doing is an action. Being is your state of being. And when you step away from so much stimulation, the stories that we surround ourselves with, right? Because often, let's say we're online and we're watching videos, or we're watching a movie, even reading a book too, right? We're in a story. Once again, neither good nor bad. It's just an awareness of where our mind and where our attention is. It's important to take breaks from this, right? Everything in this world, it's a tool. It's an incredible blessing, I'd like to say, to be here in the world of form. It's such a blessing to be here, to use our voice to speak, to breathe, to touch, to taste. This moment is a miracle in and of itself. Much gratitude. And so it's so important that we balance out the way we experience life by pausing and stopping and allowing ourselves to do nothing consciously and stepping into a state. I guess the word is state, but stepping into knowing. That's it. It's so simple. I read a little something from an author, Rupert Spira, spiritual teacher, spiritual leader, and he shares a lot about awareness. He has very in-depth teachings on awareness that I honor. And one quote that he shared that I appreciated, I kind of shared a little bit of it, but he said, okay, well, I thought I saved it, but it's not here. But it was something along the lines of, it was something along the lines of what I said about knowing, and that knowing, no, I gotta find it for you guys. Give me a moment. Man, I guess it was... All right, here it is. So, the only security there is to live as the knowing that pervades all experience, that is all experience. Chris, you know about Spira? Indeed, yes. To live as the knowing that pervades all experience. That insight awakened the knowing within myself. This is what happens when you pause. It's just awareness. Pure awareness. A knowing. Remember how I shared nothing is really good nor bad? Those emotions that arise, just know them. Acknowledge them. Acknowledge. Just acknowledge. No. Whatever it is. See it for what it is. The more we do that, we'll understand that life is a meditation. A meditation is not necessarily something you do. It's a state of being. When we're stepping into that knowing, you don't really have to step into it also. You guys kind of get what I mean, right? Buddha says his words are only pointing to the moon. The Tao is that which can't be named. These words are all guides to awaken within you that knowing within you. Even as I speak the words, the depth, it's speaking and awakening that knowing within you, the knowing that is you. That's why we're here. And a big part of what I'd like to remind us, and it's even a reminder for me, right, is Life is simple when we let it. You don't need to try to be enlightened. You don't need to try to reach enlightenment. It is already you. It is you. That is all. And it's so important to be with yourself. It's okay to be alone. I like to say that right now I'm dived into hermit mode, and it's so great. It feels so good. There has been a release of emotions in myself. Another reason why I've been inspired to share this topic, to be on this topic. And so ultimately, even if you're here in the chat and you may not fully have grasped what I've shared, don't worry about it. That's not important. It's not important. Take in what it is that you can receive and be there with that. That is enough. It is enough. There's so much knowledge in the world. Take in what it is that you can receive in the moment and be there with that. Right? This moment is enough. This moment is sufficient. Right? There will always be more. Be here. Be here. I am Shibi. Find beauty in the simplest of experiences. Yes, yes. One thing I share in the ebook is our connectedness with nature. Nature is so simple, and it can be complex at the same time. So many little ecosystems. But nature is so simple. This is why all humans, we have this natural love for it. I mean, I say all humans, but you know what? I'm just going to say us here in this chat. those that are aligned with these messages, with the frequency of these messages. Nature, there's nothing interfering with nature's interconnectedness to the universe, interconnectedness to universal intelligence. There's nothing that's interfering with it. No thought, no emotion. And so this is why when we go take a walk, we go sit in the grass and we look at the trees and we listen to the birds. What that does is it assists us and it guides us into space, pure awareness. Naturally, we are stepping out of that stream of thinking. The stream of thinking dissolves and we're just here and we feel so much better. That's why a walk in nature can feel like a therapy session. That's why being by a tree, it just feels so powerful. You want to hug it. You hug a tree, it feels like a human is hugging you back. It feels like someone's hugging you back. You see animals. Animals don't care how they look. They're not concerned about that. The squirrels running. Here in Florida, the iguanas running everywhere. Birds chirping. Just being out in nature. They're just doing their thing. They're just being. So it influences you to step into a state of simply being. Honoring your being. Knowing. Pure awareness. Absolutely, I am Shibi. So a couple things. When we talk about cultivating non-reactivity, right? When I say cultivate, what I mean is inviting it into our lives, into a point where it's just a state. It's something we do naturally, right? Because honestly, that is our natural state. I always share peace is our natural state. An aspect of peace is non-reactivity. And so some things that can help us and let me know in the chat if this is something you do. All right. 1, meditation, doing nothing consciously, right? Meditative state. Stepping into a meditative state is 1, the purest. Deep breathing. Deep breathing. Another powerful practice for cultivating non-reactivity, being present with strong emotions, right? How I shared with you all in the beginning of this live. When you notice a strong emotion arise, notice it, notice the urge. And even after, in that moment, take a deep breath. One analogy that I really like that relates to nature is when, think of a beach or an ocean, and you're watching the ebb and flow of the water coming in and out of the shore. So you take a deep breath, you hold it, and you release. It's the same thing as the ocean. The ocean, it's coming in, it stops, and it pulls out the wave, and it stops, and it pulls in. And having that, being fully aware of that, immediately it steps us into this space of knowing, space, awareness, awareness of knowing, awareness of awareness, aware of being aware. Deep breathing. Adrian, much love, much love. I hear gerbils can purr. Oh, our list is expanding. Much love to you. Just Sean, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love to the chat. So much gratitude whenever I see your names pop up. Adrian, you know, that's something that I've had chats with guys. If anyone here has ever heard of Montauk Chia, he dives into that semen retention, noticing the strong urges. That those are powerful spiritual practices. Montauk Chia talks about how our sexual energy is life force energy, and when we become more aware of that, right? Once again, we're stepping into our power once again. So if anyone here, I don't have much, obviously, like, you know, I won't be a pro on that part, but check out Montauk Chia. And I know, Adrian, you've been sharing about your practice, so much love to you on here on your spiritual journey. Much love to you. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure that'll help a lot of people here in the chat. I am Shibi. It is in the present moment where true liberation resides. Indeed. Here now live. That's why we're here. To remind ourselves of this. Remind ourselves of this. It's okay if we forget sometimes. It's okay if you get reactive. It's okay. It is okay. The moment you are aware, that's enough. It's enough. You ever find yourself in the middle of a strong emotion, just any emotion, all right? I don't want to label it. I don't want to give one. Just any strong emotion. Think of an emotion that you experience the most. When you're in that emotion, choose to pause. Choose to just be there, just to pause. Choose to watch yourself. Has anyone ever watched themselves cry? Watch themselves cry. That is powerful. That is a space where you are knowing, the acknowledgement of the moment. It shifts the entire moment. It shifts your state of consciousness, right? Cheers to that. Camille, it's been 11 months for me, and the internal conflicts get easier over time. There we go. There we go. Have you guys heard of Montauk Chia? I have his book right here. He has so many books. He has an Instagram. He has YouTube. Check him out. This book right here, Awaken Healing Energy Through the Tao. I find myself, if anyone's interested, I find myself very drawn to Eastern spiritual practices. I find myself drawn to Taoism, and what it provides and teaches. I'm very drawn towards it. This is powerful too. And yeah, so check out this book. And there's a lot of others, but this is one that I have. Yeah. I have another one too. He talks about the art of cosmic vision. Like if your vision gets impaired, he talks about like rehabilitating it. I Am Sheep, you've heard of him? Yep. Much love to the chat. Gratitude to you all on your spiritual journeys and your spiritual practices. You may be inspired by me. I find myself inspired by you all. There's always something to learn. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, who you're learning from. There's always something to learn, truly. Non-reactivity, right? Labeling emotions. Another one, right? When experiencing strong emotions, try labeling them without getting caught up in the intensity. Simply recognize, name the emotion. I'm feeling anger, frustration, sadness without getting carried away. I do find that is incredibly helpful. Incredibly helpful. Labeling emotions. Because it is that step in acknowledging, knowing it. Knowing that, listen, this emotion is not your enemy. When we start to shift our relationship with it and name it, we can catch it and see it and allow it to be. That's it. Because when you allow it to be, it naturally dissolves. When you allow it to be, you break away from the story. When it comes to labeling emotions, let me grab a book for you all to help you out. So this right here is a great book to help us label emotions. Brene Brown, I've shared this before in the chat, Atlas of the Heart, Mapping Meaningful Connection, the Language of Human Experience. She taps into so many emotions in this book, and she dives into how they affect us, how they affect our relationships. And she's a psychologist, someone that I've been reading her books for quite some time now. And it's a great book if you get the actual hard copy. It's really engaging. And she just taps into what we feel. And this has helped me understand myself, understand any tendencies. We all are different human beings, and we engage with the world in our own unique ways. And each of us, we experience the same emotions, and sometimes we experience different emotions, right? How would I say this? The way we experience emotions can be different. Some of us experience certain emotions more often than others, right? So I think this is yet another book to help us understand and label emotions so that we can continue cultivating non-reactivity. We can continue inviting in presence. We can get more comfortable, right? With knowing and just being aware. Not having to do anything, not having to fix anything all the time. This is why I share with you all, these emotions that we feel, they're not a problem. Getting lost in thought, that's not a problem either. It's not a problem. It is something that we feel is a problem because the emotions are so intense and it makes us feel so overwhelmed. But at the end of the day, it's not a problem. And when we can understand that more, it allows us to express ourselves authentically because we're so comfortable with ourselves. We don't feel a sense of shame or guilt for getting lost in thought, for being reactive. So when we're improving our relationship with ourselves, accepting ourselves, we can offer that to others as well. We can be more calm with those that we're around, more patient, more understanding. And even if someone misunderstands us or chooses to misunderstand us, we don't take it personal, right? This is heart-centeredness. Heart-centeredness. You live in that state, no one can get to you. No one's words can get to you. It dissolves in your energy field. And all you see is their light. You don't see their ego, which they are reacting from. You acknowledge their light, right? When we say namaste, namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. The light in me sees the light in you. Often when this is also another powerful spiritual practice when communicating with others, right? Just being there, present within ourselves. And often, sometimes we can naturally sense and feel the other's light. We can feel their truest essence because that is in line with ourselves. That's the recognition of oneness on some level, right? This is what happens when we're awakening. Peace and love to the chat. Peace and love to the chat. Chris, seeing yourself having the motions, you think that could happen when sleeping or dreaming? Seeing yourself happy. Sleeping and dreaming. Yeah, that's another. So, I'm not sure because, when we're sleeping, there's an aspect of us that is definitely still conscious, that knowing, but that's something I don't have words yet for that. I'm sure the information is out there. But yeah, seeing yourself having the emotions. I mean, when I think about that conscious aspect, it makes me think of like lucid dreaming, right? Being aware that you're dreaming. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, Chris. Being aware that you're dreaming, that's a state, something I've experienced, pretty profound. But yeah, sleeping and dreaming. We're in a whole nother dimension, the astral realm, right? Apparently the astral realm, it's happening right now, right? We're multi-dimensional beings. And then just to name a few other, for those in the chat, anyone watching the recording, ways that we cultivate non-reactivity, self-compassion, which I just chatted about, reflective writing, right? Or automatic writing. Writing is you grab a book, you grab a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen, you just write what's coming out, right? We don't know what our next thought's going to be. That's something too. That is a profound, knowing, we really don't know what next thought's going to come up. So when you choose to do automatic writing or reflective writing, that's another way to cultivate non-reactivity. Physical exercise, another one. For me, my exercise of choice is yoga, hot Pilates, hot yoga. And that has been powerful with cultivating the non-reactivity, being present with my body, out of the mind and into the body. Yeah. Ensure that you're doing physical exercise. It's good for you. It's good for your body. Putting your body through a bit of stress, right? In order to build muscles, to get stronger. That's an aspect of being human, right? This is why I say you don't need to avoid suffering, right? The aspect of just avoiding suffering in and of itself is suffering. It's a resistance. If suffering arises, and when I say suffering, y'all, this can be anything, any form of disagreement with the moment, a complaint, impatience, anything. Those are tiny forms of suffering. I know when we hear the word suffering, it sounds like it has to be this dramatic moment of our lives, but that's not necessarily what it is. It can be just it could be the tiniest disagreement with the moment. That is a form of it. So yeah, so when we choose to, so even in that, like Thich Nhat Hanh, he has a book. It's called No Mud, No Lotus, right? Lotuses, they grow in mud. Lotuses are so beautiful, but they grow in mud. It's almost like pressure creates diamonds, right? The aspect here of being human is that we will be met with challenges. We will be met with experiences in our lives that encourage us and inspire us to act differently, to be different, in order to transform, in order to evolve. And working out is an example of our body having to adjust to the stress, right? When I'm in yoga, I'm doing certain poses, like, holy crap, some of those, all of the poses, not all of them, there's pain there. Hot Pilates, incredible pain, slow burns, right? When you are actively engaged in physical exercise, that too is very helpful with non-reactivity. It's very helpful with your spiritual practices, helpful with being present in the now, because you experience what it means to overcome pain, to allow the pain to be. That's a huge another aspect of yoga too. The pain is there, let it be there, and you're holding that pose. From someone who's not doing yoga or hasn't done it, you might look at it and it might appear easy. Like, oh, it's just a pose. It looks incredibly graceful. That's what I love about yoga, is that the positions are quite challenging, yet it looks so graceful. And when you actually, someone on the outside looking in might see the grace, and it may appear easy. But when you do it, you're like, holy crap. And then you want to come back, because it's so good to stretch your body. Moving the energy through your body, opening up your chakras, your energy centers. A lot of poses like this, they open up your heart center. Because sometimes we walk around the world like this. We don't even know we're hunched in, caving in our chest, because it's unconsciously we are trying to protect our heart space due to the way we responded to certain experiences in our past. So we don't even notice that, we're hunched over. Another powerful practice is to walk with your chest open. I like doing that when I go to parks, ensuring that my head, I'm looking forward. I'm not looking down at the ground, but I'm looking forward, and my chest is open. And that's a powerful practice in and of itself. We don't even know that, our chest is caved in and we're trying to protect our hearts. We don't even know, we realize, when we're in public, we're looking down so that we don't have to awkwardly look at somebody else, because we don't want to say hi, or we're just awkward. I think it's a powerful practice to go to a park where there's others and look straight ahead. Don't look down, don't look up, don't look to the side, look straight ahead. And if someone's there, you can say hi. If they don't say hi back, it's all good. It's all right. They're probably a little nervous, but that's a powerful practice, Cheers to that. Camille, this past week, I definitely learned a lot about the feeling of love. I learned that I can love someone and not be attached in a way, if that makes sense. Yes, indeed, to love someone and not feel attached. That's powerful. I feel like that is true love. That is love. To love and let be. To love and not need to feel, to love. Because love is the experience in and of itself, right? You ever heard something, if you love something, let it be, let it go. That can refer to a person, that can refer to a goal you might have, a dream you might have. If you love it, let it be. Continue to engage with it, be with it. No need to control it, right? Because control is fear. And that experience, Camille, is love without fear. Pure love. Thank you for sharing. Chris, I tried yoga once, couldn't move for a week, but probably means I should do it more. Yes, definitely. That'll happen. That means you were stretching some muscles, you were moving aspects of your body that had not been stretched, it had not been active in so long, right? So yeah, that's what yoga does. It's incredible. Even like for myself, I take like a week or so off and then I get back into yoga and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you really feel it. You really feel it. Even with emotions, I had last Sunday, I think I shared too in the chat. Last Sunday, I had this incredible yoga session, and in it, I felt the release of emotions, like especially with our hips. Our hips hold so much emotion. It holds so much tension, so much stress. And so when we are stretching our hips, you can feel that energy, the energy in motion. You could feel it coming up and out and moving. And sometimes you might feel like a little tear, a little tear. You start crying. That's beautiful. All right. So I encourage y'all, yoga, y'all, do a little yoga, Like, even if you're someone, you might love bodybuilding, you might love running, stretching is something everyone should do, right? Lemon water, gratitude. Camille. Sometimes I want to express an abundance of love and usually don't direct it verbally after being taught a valuable lesson. So I learn I don't have to try to create a bond with every moment that arises. What comes to mind when you share that, Camille, is how presence is intimacy with every moment, right? It's true. You don't have to verbally say something after a moment of love. You can just be there with it and feel it. This often, and I think this is what I got from what you shared. So, often I'll share when it comes to positive self-talk, right? A lot of us, we have the question around, self-talk, how we speak to ourselves, that inner voice within the mind, and us giving all of this attention to it. I think one powerful way, to shift that negative self-talk is to shift into gratitude, thanking yourself, right? This is just an example. Thanking yourself for getting out of bed in the morning and making your bed. Thanking yourself for going to work out, going to yoga. Thanking yourself for attending Here Now Live. Thanking yourself for feeling the emotion and letting it flow through you. And then often when you do that enough, your state of being has shifted enough to the point where you don't have to verbally say anything. Just be there. The bond with the moment is already there. It doesn't have to be created. The bond with the moment that you share, Camille, is in the knowing. It's in the awareness. Immediately, that's what it is. Often we might think about the word self-love. For me, all these years of being a spiritual teacher, learning, and improving my relationship with suffering, I found that I just lost my train of thought. I found that I lost my train of thought, but I'm going to go to what that I'm thinking of right now. All of these moments, these moments of suffering, these moments of teaching, truly it's shown me how presence is intimacy with the moment. Even as I share with you all, like when you notice yourself in a place of suffering, that knowing is enough. Watch yourself. To watch, to notice, to be aware. Do you guys see that trend? There's nothing you have to do. You don't have to create anything. Creation is already being done. Creation is here. Creation is you. So when you are the knowing, our awareness, you notice that there's not much you have to do. The bond is, and self-love in many ways is to see yourself fully. And so we might have certain practices for self-love, right? And these practices, what these practices are doing is it's helping us shift into this knowing, into acknowledging the knowing, being aware of being aware, being aware of knowing, right? And so these practices, whether it's going out into nature, however you guys, like, we all have different forms of how we express these forms of self-love. But I find that so much of self-love, if we were going to use that, it's just fully seeing yourself, knowing, being with yourself. And ultimately, through being with yourself, you're with everything. You're one with everything in another way of sharing it. So thank you for sharing that, Camille. That was beautifully said. That Bullze reacts. Welcome. Welcome to the live. Welcome to Here Now Live. Glad to have you in the chat. Adrian, I tried yoga once and felt lighter. I feel like I should do it again, but I get bored easily while doing it. Whoa. That was dramatic. Okay, I tried yoga once and I felt lighter. I feel like I should do it again. I get bored easily while doing it. Thank you for sharing, Adrian. I don't know if you were here for our boredom talk. I would say this, Adrian. One powerful practice with yoga, right? Every yoga practice, you set your intention. Intention, right? Intention is another way of being present with the moment, of acknowledging the intimacy with the moment. So in yoga, when you're there, be there fully with your practice. Be there fully with every pose. Ensure that you are breathing. And follow your breath. And what happens is that boredom dissolves because you're not so absorbed in the stream of thinking. You're not paying attention to the thought. The reason why you might get bored is because you get absorbed in the stream of thinking that's arising. Whether it's a thought that says, when is this going to be over? Or I don't like this pose. Or perhaps your attention is directed to everybody else. One powerful thing about yoga is that you might be in a room in a practice with everyone, but the practice is quite individual. And that's why I enjoy doing yoga with people in a room, because we're all together in that room sharing a space, yet we're all in our individual practices. Each pose, we're all feeling it differently. We're all experiencing it differently in a way. And I find that if boredom is arising in yoga, it probably arises in many other aspects of your life. So whenever you take a yoga class again, set the intention to bring awareness to boredom, right? You don't need to set the intention to not get bored. Just set the intention to be aware of it. And then set the intention to be present in your practice, right? This is essentially the same thing. When you're present in your practice, then essentially you're a present with the boredom, right? Once again, these are just emotions, energy and motions that arise, a thought that arises. There's nothing you need to do. Notice, watch, Be aware. That's it. That's it. It's simple. Simple's not even the word. That's it. Thank you for sharing, Adrian. I know a lot of people can relate to that. I can even say too, there are moments when, like when I first started yoga, like sometimes I would get bored. And sometimes that would stop me from going. But what happened is that throughout my journey, the connectedness I had with my body, the more intentions I set, when I set intentions that were aligned with my current state, that's what allowed me to be fully present. And then you don't even notice that you just went through a whole 60-minute yoga class, and then you'll notice like it's time for shavasana, and you're just there lying and the practice is done. Well, not done yet, right? But you're there and you're feeling the effects of the practice in your body. And it's rewarding, incredibly rewarding, right? Much love, Camille. Chris, loving ourselves and choosing to see our light too, even when we feel like no one else can see it. Getting to know us and like us. Powerful. Thank you, Chris. Yes. Choosing to see our light, right? Once again, that goes beautifully along the lines of seeing ourselves, knowing ourselves, seeing our light. And just as you say, even when we feel like no one else can see it. I think that when we continuously set that intention to see our light, even if we feel like no one else sees it, we're cultivating non-reactivity. We're getting comfortable in simply noticing, simply watching, simply being aware, being. That is so self-love. So self-love. And you'll notice that naturally, when you see your own light, you enjoy yourself more. You enjoy just being with yourself. And others notice that. This is what it means. You can be a teacher. You can be a teacher of presence. You can be a teacher, a present moment awareness teacher. It doesn't have to be formal like me. You can be that by just being you. Because you honor the light in yourself. Because you honor you. And what happens is you just being you, because you see your light, you know your light, your energy, it ends up awakening that within someone else. They won't notice. It might be a smile. They might smile at you. They might wave to you. They might feel comfortable sharing something with you. They don't even know why. They might just feel good in your presence. Why? Because you feel good in your presence. This is a language that transcends words. And that's how you become a teacher of presence, a teacher of being here now. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Adrian, speaking of intention, I just remembered yesterday. The weather said it was going to rain all week, and I set an intention that it would stop raining, and the sun came out. Powerful. What that reminds me, it reminds me of Florida. We're here in Florida, June, July, summer. It's rainy season. It is rainy season. And it's been raining a lot. And you know what's so interesting too is the forecast, it might predict that it's going to rain all week, and perhaps it will rain. And it's interesting because what comes up about that intention is that Perhaps ultimately you were looking for a space. You're like, oh, it's going to rain all day. Maybe the rain is getting in the way of my time outside. So ultimately, you shifted your awareness to a space when it wasn't raining and the sun came out. And you were able to, that's that interconnectedness with life. That's that synchronicity. That's that knowing that we're not alone, you know? We're truly not alone. Even when we're in a room and we're by ourselves, we're not alone. And it might feel that way because the logical mind, it gets in the way. And when we're going beyond that, we're tapping into that deeper aspect of us and we're perceiving our environment rather than attempting to read it with logic, but we're perceiving it. We notice that interconnectedness, and your intention is realized, and you recognize and you honor when the sun comes out, right? So that's a beautiful way to see it too. Thank you for sharing. Chris, true. Just being us helps others so much. I notice my vibration changing, but it is not stable yet. But takes the time it takes. Yeah. It's okay if it's not stable per se. When we talk about stability, what that reminds me of, Chris, is stillness. Right? Stillness. For me, when I think about stillness, it is acknowledging the timeless, unchanging dimension of ourselves. The self with a capital S. Timeless, unchanging, knowing, awareness. When we tap into that, there's that space of stability. So even if we do notice our emotions going here and there, it's okay. It's all right. And in that space of you just saying it's okay, it's all right, that is your vibe. That shifts your vibration. That shifts your frequency because you're agreeing with the moment. Maybe one moment you're sad, and then one moment you feel happy. It's okay. Agree with it. And then you have this space of stability, right? Today I was pondering on this aspect of my own journey where I'm like, wow, this is hard. This is difficult. It's okay to admit when moments in your life are difficult. Life is difficult. Life gets difficult, right? And in that space of me honoring the difficulty, honoring my exhaustion, honoring what appeared to be failed attempts, I felt, I recognized there was a peace there. It was peace. In that small space, there was an agreement with the moment, a receiving the moment as it is, simply by saying, man, this is difficult. Man, this is tough. This is hard. And I noticed that within myself, that with that peace, there was an aspect of me that was trying to say, oh no, don't worry about it. It's okay. Sometimes, that's what happens when we're not truly honoring our emotions, but simply just honoring the emotion and saying, oh, it's difficult. It's difficult. Then we have that peace. We're aligning with it, This is why one may call something, toxic positivity. I don't usually use the word toxic, but this is just a phrase, toxic positivity, because you're not honoring your truest emotions and you're just trying to follow an identity. And ultimately that is ego. It's an unconscious aspect of the self that's trying to be something. There's nothing you need to be. You already are. So when you honor how you feel a sense of peace. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Earthly Princess, welcome to the chat. Hi, I just tapped in. I forgot about Sundays, but I came at the right time, I see. Indeed you did. Indeed you did. All that matters is that you are here now. Acceptance is indeed beautiful. Camille. Being you is great, Chris. At first, I was honestly hiding what I eat from coworkers because I am vegan. I didn't want them to feel less than, in a sense, of our differences in eating habits. Over these last few weeks, they have opened up to commenting on what I eat, and I've opened up and engaging with them in a calming manner. Now, they always show me how they are eating better. Cheers, Camille. Earthly Princess, it's quite a challenge for me, but there's beauty there. Indeed there is. You know, I want to acknowledge in this chat, if it hasn't been acknowledged, I guess I'd like to emphasize, we do experience suffering. Does it suck? It does. It does. But there's a way of saying how to experience it, all right? Not how to avoid it, but how to receive it and how to let it be. And when we learn how to receive it, when we learn how to let it be and accept it, there becomes that ease. You don't need to try to create ease. The ease comes from receiving it, allowing. So if you can see the trend here, there's really nothing you have to do besides acknowledge, besides accept. Creating space. And when there's enough space, you can make a decision, a conscious decision, that is not based in autopilot, that's not based in what you've always done in the past, that's not based in unfavorable behavior. It's based in the now. It's based in the present moment. Infinite possibilities exist with just that space. Peaceful pausing. This is why I created the ebook, for a peaceful pause, because within that peaceful pause is life. It's newness, a new beginning, awareness, knowing, everything within a pause. It's insane what space will do. Peaceful pausing is a brief moment, a brief moment of alert awareness, right? Once again, non-reactivity versus suppression. Non-reactivity is an acceptance and a knowing. Suppression is denial. It's a covering up. When you pause peacefully in non-reactivity, you are alert and you are aware. You're fully there, present. Thank you all for this live. What a wonderful live stream. Lots of engagement. Clearly, this was a live that is quite necessary. So thank you all for being here. Let me know in the chat. What are you feeling grateful for today? What are you feeling grateful for today? Gratitude anchors us into the present moment. Many of us, we have goals, we have dreams, we have intentions. This is an aspect of being human, of building, creating. Yeah, we set goals, we set intentions. What's helpful to keep us directed in the moment and focused in the moment is gratitude. Sometimes we may get a little bit too caught up in the mind, caught up in the future, the idea of the future. Unhappy, unsatisfied with the moment because it doesn't look like what we expect it to. But when we choose gratitude, there's an acknowledgement of what is, along with this feeling of peace, feeling of joy, of grace, graceful. Gratitude, acknowledging the little moments in life. I shared before that this moment right here is a miracle. Wherever you are, this moment is a miracle. We're moving, we're living, we're breathing. We can touch, we can taste, we can experience life. One of my favorite spiritual teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, he says, the miracle is not to walk on water, but the miracle is to walk on earth, on the green earth, present in the moment. This moment is a miracle. Gratitude. Gratitude for being here. This is something I remind myself if ever I get too caught up in the mind, I get lost. And I need a reminder to notice the noticing, to be aware of being aware. The simplicity of life. Gratitude. If you're not living in a state of gratitude, then you're prone to living in a state of suffering. Perpetual longing and desire for another moment. Constantly being unsatisfied with who you are. Even when you reach your goal, you still feel unsatisfied. When you live in a state of gratitude, you find yourself in a state of presence. You find yourself here. And it's not a matter of having to always be present. Don't worry about that. When you're aware enough, and you're here. When you're aware enough, remind yourself of what you're grateful for. And immediately that shifts your state of consciousness. It shifts your state of being. That is an enlightening moment. Gratitude. I am Shibi. Gratitude. Just Sean, grateful for nature. Indeed, grateful for nature. To the songs of birds, to the rustling of the leaves on trees, to the thick grass that we can walk on, ground our feet onto the earth, allowing us to transmute any energies that need to be transmuted. Gratitude to the ants, the ducks. I'm just thinking of my neighborhood right now. Gratitude. Camille, I woke up and meditated for almost an hour. I went to the gym for an hour and went on a 10-mile run. I'm grateful I got to fit all of it into my day. Gratitude for prioritizing our state of consciousness, prioritizing our peace, prioritizing awareness of ourselves. That's a powerful way to, a powerful way to start your day, to even add that into your day and know that that should be prioritized. Life is happening now. What is it that you'd like to add into your day-to-day? Add it. Life is happening now. You'd like to go to the gym? You'd like to practice yoga? Do it. Do it. You'd like to start eating healthier? Do it. So many good, yummy foods. You'd like to step into a meditative state? Experience the joy of simply being? Go grab a blanket. Sit outside. Just listen to the birds, even if it's for a minute or two. That's enough. Whatever it is you'd like to fit into your practice, fit into your day, do it now. Because if not now, when? Take care of yourselves, y'all. I am Shibi, grateful for my garden producing such beautiful veggies. Gratitude for self-sustainability. Gratitude for the fact that all the fruits and veggies we eat have seeds in it so we can continue to grow more. The abundance is real, y'all. If anyone has not experienced growing your own food, I encourage you to do so in any way that you can. It is quite fun. It is, helps you get in touch. And if if you can't, I encourage you to buy local. That's another great way to tap into the energy of where you live, tapping into your hometown or wherever you live, tapping into the energy there, because the food we eat, it mirrors the energy of where we are. And also when you buy local, it hasn't been, shipped so far away. So yeah, there's so many ways to get in touch with the foods that we eat. Earthly Princess, I'm grateful for today with such heavy emotions and came to acceptance without even knowing. I came to the realization of my own validation, my inner strength. I'm grateful for breath. I feel that too, Earthly Princess. Thank you for sharing. When I was reading that, I felt that mirrored within me. Feeling such heavy emotions. And we come to the acceptance without even knowing, Not even realizing. It's one of the reasons why I strategically made the topic that it was today, because I too have been experiencing heavy emotions. But once again, it's not a problem. It's just an aspect of being human. We learn so many lessons through the acceptance of what we experience. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. All right, y'all. Thank you for sharing what you're grateful for. I'm so grateful for you all. So I would like to say, gratitude for exploring and learning. I would say exploring and discovering what it means to dance with suffering, to dance with heavy emotions, to dance with acceptance and resistance. Gratitude for that experience, because in the awareness of it, there's wisdom there. Resilience, strength. Not trying to make the moment anything other than what it is. That is peace. No matter what's happening, no matter what's not happening, whatever we accept the moment as it is, that is peace. I know for myself, I experienced quite a bit of resistance this past week. A lot of resistance in the moment, resistance in the ebb and flow. But the true lesson came from noticing that, acknowledging it and just saying, hey, Morse, there's resistance here, and that is it. There was no shame, there was no guilt, just the noticing. So gratitude for that, gratitude for the noticing, gratitude for the shift in emotions, gratitude for stability and instability, right? Life in all of its inevitable counterparts. The miracle is to walk on the green earth. Wherever you are, grab a palo santo. You can grab a piece of sage. You can grab incense, light a candle, take a sip of tea, water, take a deep breath, whatever you'd like to do to join me in this moment of honoring what we're grateful for. Honoring the here-ness, honoring the now-ness. Join me. I'm going to use Palo Santo. Join me in this one conscious breath meditation and moment of stillness. Take one conscious breath in. Hold. One conscious breath out. Bring your awareness to your heart center and be here. Thank you for joining me in that moment of space. Gratitude. I'm going to do my best to pronounce your name correctly. Akumabu Gilbert. Welcome. Welcome to Here Now Live. Grateful to see you in the chat. I am Shibi. Oh, you grow your own sage? Shout out to you. Homegrown. Loved and blessed sage. That is awesome. I am Shivi. Chris, thanks for the stream. You got it. You got it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your input and what you've been sharing. This is great. 40 live streams, y'all, right here on YouTube. 40 live streams. I'm so grateful. I wasn't sure when this first started where it would go, but I knew it felt right. I knew that this was a better way for me to create content. It's a way that I find that I could be more consistent with it. And this has opened so many doors in terms of my own self-awareness and as well as connecting with all of you. It's a lot different than creating a video and just seeing comments, you know. Both are great. I love both. It's so nice to have that live, the streaming aspect for us all to come together and engage with each other and ask questions and dive in and release, especially. So many of us have released so much on this chat, you know, sharing things and saying things we haven't said and shared to others. We'll share it here in the chat, and it goes to show that the space has become a place for us to release, let go, learn how to flow, and release, let go, flow, bars. But yeah, indeed, I'm grateful for the space and the stream and everything that makes it up. Camille, take care of yourself, Morcie. Will do. That's my intention every day. Will do. Thank you, Camille. I appreciate you. I am Shibi, here now live, number 40, flowing, growing, being. You already know. If you all haven't already, be sure to download the Peaceful Pauses ebook, Peaceful Pauses, the calm beyond the overstimulated mind. Grab that ebook, and if you have read it, shoot me an email and give me like 2 to 3 sentences on, you know, what you learned. What parts did you like? What stood out to you? And shoot me an email, and I will put that on my social media. I'll put that on my website. And it also helps me see, you know, what was helpful for you all and how you like it. You know, I get curious. You put things out, I'm like, I wonder if it relates. I wonder if it was clear. I wonder if it was useful. So when you read it, let me know what was your experience with it. I would greatly appreciate it. And I would love to share it with everyone. I'd love to share it on my social media pages and share it on the website, just so others can see too that, you know, we're learning from it and we're growing from it. And look out for the course that will be coming. It'll be launching July 24th. This course is basically the actual application of what was shared in the book. And there's going to be 7 meditations, each meditation falling into another. I will have video guides in there as well, basically talking about the whole entire practice and approach of peaceful pauses. And also there will be a 3-part podcast series, which will be quite fun. Everything will be downloadable, so you can listen to it in your car if you want to. If you'd like to do the meditation out in nature, you could do that too. The meditations I'll be out in nature in the meditations. And yeah, you'll hear nice bird sounds, things like that. So look out for that. And, you know, thank you all for the space. I'm so grateful that, you know, you all come here and allow me to teach, guide, and you trust. And yeah, this has been an awesome experience. So right? Chakra start, yeah, 7. I didn't even think about that. It's crazy how things naturally align. And the also, I put the link to the page where I give more information on the course, so it's in the description. So go ahead, click on that link, and I have the full outline of what you'll receive in the course, what you can expect, everything there. And yeah, it'll be a wonderful experience. And yeah, trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah. Once again, this is Here Now Live number 40. Wow, that's crazy. 40 live streams, that's crazy. I'm here every Sunday. This week, I'll be on Instagram. So if you want to catch me live, join me on Tuesday. What I will be doing this Tuesday on Instagram will be something different. I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come on with me, ask a question or share something. And you can invite others on. It'll be like a split screen, and if there's something you want to share, talk about, especially with peaceful pauses, any questions you might have, anything like that, that'll be happening this Tuesday on Instagram. So be sure to join me this Tuesday on Instagram. And then the week after, I'll be live on TikTok. And every week on YouTube. So yeah. We keep it going. We keep it popping with the live streams. We stay connected. I want to let you all know that your presence matters. Your existence matters. Continue to take care of yourselves, y'all. Prioritize your state of consciousness. Prioritize your peace. And that's life. Live every day. Step out, try new things, express yourself authentically. Be gentle with yourself. It does get tough, but it's nothing you can't handle. Everything that is put in front of you, it's meant for you to overcome. Whatever moment that you're being faced with, look at it as if it was you. It was you who planned that. It was you who planned your own challenge. And you'll start to see it differently. You get through it. You get through it, you transcend it, you learn from it. You become an alchemist. Transmuting pain, transmuting suffering. This is my way. This is like me churning base metals into gold. I don't really know what it looks like, but I have an imaginary spoon and I'm mixing something. Be an alchemist, y'all. Transmute to wisdom, to empathy, to connectedness, awareness, presence. Life is now. Life is now. Alrighty. Let's dive into a meditation to close this out. As always, every Here Now Live ends into a meditation. Each meditation is intended for you to take the small practice and pour it into other aspects of your lives. Let's dive into today we chatted about emotions, right? Being present with strong emotions. So I'd like to facilitate in meditation that will show us, what that means and what that looks like to be non-reactive. So let's dive into that. Okay. Wherever you are, find yourself in a comfortable position. You can sit upright like myself. You can lie down, you can sit on the floor. Whatever position resonates with you at the moment. Take this moment to just be here. There is nowhere to go. Nothing you have to do, nothing you have to be. Be aware of just being here. Take this moment to notice any tension within your body and release that tension. Starting with your eyebrows, you can release it, move it up and down, release any tension, your jaw, anywhere your neck, you can move your neck, your shoulders. You can move your body around, whatever you need to do to release any tension. After you've released the tension, just take this moment to notice what it feels like afterwards, after the tension has been released, after you've noticed any holding, any attachment. Notice what it feels like to release. Whenever a strong emotion arises, stop whatever you're doing and acknowledge it. Notice it. Receive it. Often when a strong emotion arises, it could be compared to the leaves and branches blowing wildly on a tree in a storm. But we can bring our awareness down to the root, where it's more stable, it's grounded. So when a strong emotion arises, it's important to acknowledge and notice the intensity. And in that noticing is stillness. When we're not noticing, we become the leaves, the branches, the intensity. It feels out of control. It feels uncomfortable. Improving our relationship with our emotions means to notice, to watch. And naturally, we become still. Take this moment to be here in stillness. Acknowledging any emotion that arises. Allow it to be there. In non-reactivity. If you find yourself feeling bored, notice the boredom just as you would notice a strong emotion. Notice the thought of boredom just as you would notice a strong emotion. It is not you that is bored. It's just your awareness. It's just getting absorbed in the boredom, attached to the boredom. Choose to be aware of it. Allow it to be there and just be aware of it. Within this practice of knowing, we acknowledge the timeless, unchanging dimension of ourselves. We are so still. That we begin to fully see that we are beyond thought, we are beyond emotion. Just as it is more calmer the deeper we dive into the ocean compared to the chaos at the surface. We become still. This deeper dimension is like diving deep into the calmness of the ocean. Throughout your day-to-day, whenever you notice strong emotions arising within you, I encourage you to dive deeper into the ocean. Acknowledge the unchanging, timeless dimension of yourself. Bring your awareness to the root of a tree in the middle of a storm. Be there. You are more than one emotion. You are more than many emotions. Make the intention each day to improve your relationship with emotions, to dance with them, to be with them. Thank yourself for this practice. Thank yourself for honoring space. Thank yourself for honoring your emotions. Thank yourself for honoring your mind. Thank yourself for honoring you. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Open your eyes and be here. Once again, thank you all for being here. We will return next week for Here Now Live number 41. As always, I will see you all in the here and the now. Until next time, I send you all peace. I send you all love, wholeness. Live in a state of gratitude.